The massive starship trembled, its metal hull scarred and burning from multiple weapon impacts. Captain Yoon Kim watched the control panels flicker between red and black, each spark a reminder of their desperate situation. Outside the viewport, the endless darkness of space seemed to mock their vulnerability. 3 days earlier, they had been a proud diplomatic vessel representing the Galactic Confederation, tasked with negotiating peace between conflicting star systems. Now they were survivors, hunted by the most brutal military force in the known universe, the Krell Dominion. The attack had been swift and merciless. Krell warships emerged from hyperspace like predatory shadows, their weapon systems already charging. Within minutes, the diplomatic fleet was reduced to scattered debris and burning wreckage. Yoon's ship survived through a combination of luck and her pilot's incredible skill. Jay Park, the communications officer, worked frantically at his station. His fingers danced across holographic interfaces, trying to maintain system stability. Blood trickled from a cut on his forehead, but he didn't stop working. Behind him, wounded crew members lay on emergency medical beds, their breathing labored and uncertain. "Captain," Jay called out, his voice steady despite the chaos. "Life support is failing. We have maybe 12 hours of oxygen remaining." Yoon nodded, her mind racing through possible scenarios. They were in an unexplored star system, far from any known trade routes or allied territories. The star charts showed a small blue-green planet. In the distance, primitive by galactic standards but potentially their only hope. The ship's sensors began scanning the planet. Rudimentary satellite networks, basic radio communications, and signs of industrial technology suggested an emerging civilization. Most advanced species would ignore a distress call from unknown aliens, viewing it as a potential threat. But something about this planet felt different. "Prepare a wideband distress transmission," Yoon instructed Jay. "Use all available frequencies, include universal translation protocols." Jay looked surprised. "But the risk of contamination or misunderstanding—" "We have no other choice," she interrupted. The transmission went out, a desperate plea crossing light years in mere moments. It contained their location, critical medical needs, and a humble request for assistance. The message was raw, stripped of diplomatic language, showing pure vulnerability. Inside the damaged ship, the crew waited. Some prayed to their various cultural deities. Others prepared for what seemed like an inevitable end. The medical bay was quiet, filled with the soft beeping of life support machines and the occasional groan of injured crew members. Hours passed. The ship's systems continued to deteriorate. Emergency power fluctuated, causing momentary darkness followed by harsh emergency lighting. Yoon remained at her command chair, watching the planet grow larger in the viewport. Then, something unexpected happened. A response signal came through, not from their own communication networks, but from the primitive planet below. The transmission was simple, direct, and carried an unexpected tone. Curiosity mixed with genuine concern. Jay translated the message in real time. They're preparing a rescue mission. Yoon couldn't believe it. Most advanced civilizations would have ignored their call, or worse, see them as a potential invasion threat. Yet these unknown beings were mobilizing resources to help strangers. The ship's computer began receiving preliminary data about the planet's inhabitants. Humans, they called themselves. A young species, technologically developing, with a complex and often contradictory history of conflict and cooperation. As system after system began to fail, a glimmer of hope emerged. The humans were coming. Little did they know, this moment would mark the beginning of something far more significant than a simple rescue. This was the first step toward a relationship that would change the entire galactic landscape forever. The damaged starship drifted, waiting. Survival hung by a thread, balanced on the unexpected compassion of a species they had never met. The research facility buzzed with intense activity. Dr. Yoon Choi stared at the communication screen, her hand trembling slightly as she examined the strange signal that had appeared just hours ago. The transmission was unlike anything she had ever seen, a complex mixture of advanced technology and desperate communication. Around her, scientists from different departments gathered, their faces a mix of excitement and confusion. The signal didn't match any known alien communication protocols. It was raw, urgent, and carried an underlying tone of desperation that cut through technical barriers. Outside the facility, news was spreading quickly. Military bases received encrypted reports. Government officials were called into emergency meetings. Something extraordinary was happening and nobody was quite sure what it meant. Commander Sung Lee arrived at the research center within 2 hours of the initial detection. A veteran military strategist with a reputation for calm decision-making, he listened carefully as Dr. Choi explained the transmission's unique characteristics. "We're dealing with an advanced civilization," Yoon explained, pointing to complex, mathematical patterns embedded in the signal. "But they're in serious trouble. Their technology suggests they're far more advanced than us, yet they're sending a distress call to a planet they likely consider primitive." Sung studied the data. Military protocol would typically suggest caution, perhaps even preparing defensive measures, but something about the transmission felt different. It wasn't an invasion signal. It was a cry for help. Within the next few hours, a unique team was assembled. Scientists, medical experts, linguistic specialists, and military personnel worked together. They began preparing a response and, more importantly, a potential rescue mission. The United Global Response Team took shape rapidly. International boundaries seemed to dissolve as countries recognized the unprecedented nature of the situation. Resources were pooled, technologies were shared. The entire planet seemed to hold its collective breath. Engineers worked on designing specialized equipment that might be compatible with the alien technology. Medical teams prepared quarantine protocols and developed preliminary treatment strategies for potential alien physiologies. Communication experts tried to refine translation. Algorithms. Satellite networks were repositioned. Advanced telescopes scanned the coordinates of the incoming signal. Space agencies that had previously competed now worked in perfect synchronization. "We can't approach this like a military operation," Sung told his team. "This is a rescue mission. Our primary objective is to save lives." Specialized spacecraft were quickly modified. Standard military vessels were equipped with medical facilities, scientific research units, and communication systems designed to minimize potential threats or misunderstandings. The global media began reporting, though information was carefully controlled. Rumors spread faster than facts. Some people feared an alien invasion. Others saw an incredible opportunity for first contact. Social media exploded with speculation and excitement. Dr. Yoon continued analyzing the signal, discovering more intricate details. The transmission contained not just a distress call, but fragments of the aliens' cultural and technological history. It was as if they were saying more than just "help us." They were saying, "understand us." As preparations intensified, a sense of collective human potential emerged. This wasn't about national pride or individual achievement. This was about something larger, the possibility of helping another intelligent species in its moment of greatest need. Commander Sung reviewed the final mission parameters. The rescue team would approach cautiously but compassionately. They would prioritize medical assistance, communication, and ensuring the safety of the alien survivors. "We don't know what we'll find," he told his closest advisors. "But we know we have to try." The first specialized rescue ship was prepared for launch. Its crew represented the best humanity could offer: scientists, medical professionals, linguists, and military personnel united by a single purpose. As the countdown began, Dr. Yoon looked at the mysterious signal one more time. Something told her that this moment would change everything, not just for humanity, but for the entire universe. The medical bay was silent except for the soft beeping of monitoring equipment. Captain Yoon Kim sat beside her injured crew members, watching the human medical team work with incredible precision and care. Their technology was different from what she knew, yet remarkably effective. Dr. Sarah Rodriguez moved between alien patients, her hands steady and her eyes filled with professional determination. She had seen many medical challenges, but nothing like this. The alien physiology was complex with multiple redundant organ systems and a biochemistry completely different from human biology. "We need to understand your species' medical history," she told Yoon through a translation device. The device wasn't perfect, but it captured the essential meaning of their communication. Yoon understood this was more than just medical treatment. This was the beginning of understanding. When the initial medical emergency passed, the conversations began. At first, they were careful, measuring each word. But as hours turned into days, trust started to build. The humans showed no signs of aggression or hidden motives. The Krell, "Dominion will not stop," Yoon finally revealed, her voice becoming heavy with memory. "They are not just a military force. They are a civilization built on conquest and destruction." The human commanders listened carefully. Commander Sung Lee sat quietly, his eyes focused and attentive. Every detail mattered. Yoon explained how the Krell operated. They didn't just attack civilizations, they systematically destroyed them. Entire planetary populations were eliminated or enslaved. Their technology was brutal and efficient. They viewed other species as resources to be consumed or obstacles to be removed. "We were diplomats," she said. "We were trying to prevent another conflict. But the Krell don't understand diplomacy. They understand only power and submission." The humans exchanged glances. This was more than a simple rescue mission. This was a potential galactic threat. Technological data was shared. The Krell's weapon systems were analyzed. Their ship designs were studied. The humans began to understand the scale of the threat. "How many civilizations have they destroyed?" Commander Lee asked. Yoon's response was chilling. "Hundreds, maybe thousands. We lost count." The research teams worked around the clock. Scientists from different disciplines collaborated, creating simulation models of potential Krell attack strategies. They weren't just helping alien survivors anymore. They were preparing a potential defense for not just one species, but potentially many. Dr. Yoon Choi, the communications specialist, discovered something remarkable. The Krell's communication pattern suggested a deeply hierarchical and emotionless society. They didn't see individual life as valuable. Everything was about efficiency and expansion. "They're like a machine," she told her colleagues. "A very dangerous, very intelligent machine." As days passed, more details emerged. The humans learned about the galactic political landscape, about the various species struggling under the Krell's constant threat. They realized their rescue mission was becoming something much larger. The alien survivors watched the humans with increasing respect. Here was a young species, technologically still developing, yet showing a level of compassion and strategic thinking that was rare in the galaxy. Commander Lee made a decision. "We cannot allow this threat to continue," he told his team. "If the Krell are targeting peaceful civilizations, we must find a way to stop them." And was surprised. Most species would have walked away after the rescue. These humans were different. They were considering taking action, not out of self-interest, but out of a sense of moral responsibility. The threat was clear. The Krell Dominion was coming. And humanity was preparing to stand in their way. The first Krell warships appeared without warning. Massive metal structures blocking out starlight, their weapon systems already charging with destructive energy. They expected an easy elimination of the surviving alien vessel, a routine operation in their endless campaign of conquest. They did not expect humans. Commander Sung Lee stood on the bridge of the International Defense Platform, his eyes fixed on the tactical displays. Around him, a team of military and scientific personnel worked with synchronized precision. They had spent weeks studying the intercepted Krell technological data, preparing for this moment. "Defensive formations," Sung ordered. His voice was calm, almost eerily so. The human response was unlike anything the Krell had encountered. Instead of pure military might, the humans used something more powerful: adaptive strategy. They didn't just fight. They anticipated, calculated, and transformed their approach with each passing moment. Dr. Yoon Choi had discovered a critical weakness in the Krell weapon systems. a tiny communication node that, if disrupted, could cause cascading system failures. What seemed impossible to other species became a calculated strategy for humans. The first wave of Krell attacks met unexpected resistance. Human ships moved, with a fluidity that confused the rigid Krell battle algorithms. They weren't following standard combat protocols. They were improvising. Captain Yoon Kim watched from her medical recovery station, amazed. Her people had fought the Krell for generations. They understood their technological superiority. But these humans? They fought with something more powerful than technology. They fought with imagination. Quantum communication jammers, developed in mere weeks, began disrupting Krell weapon synchronization. Experimental signal generators created complex interference, patterns that the Krell computational systems couldn't predict. "They're thinking like a living organism," one Krell commander reported, confusion evident in his mechanical translation. "Not like a predictable machine." Humans used their own technological limitations as strengths. Where other species would see weakness, they found innovative solutions. Older spacecraft were retrofitted with experimental systems. Commercial communication satellites were transformed into strategic defense networks. The battle wasn't just happening in space. It was a complex dance of strategy, technology, and unexpected human creativity. Smaller human ships darted between massive Krell vessels, using maneuvers that contradicted standard space combat principles. They attacked weak points, retreated, regrouped, and attacked again. No single strategy remained constant. Dr. Rodriguez, originally a medical specialist, provided critical insights into potential vulnerabilities in the Krell ship designs. Her understanding of biological systems translated unexpectedly into strategic advantages. Hours passed. The initial Krell invasion force, expecting a quick victory, found themselves systematically dismantled, not through overwhelming force, but through something far more dangerous: human unpredictability. Commander Sung recognized something fundamental. The Krell understood machines, technology, and mathematical probabilities. But they couldn't comprehend human spirit, the ability to adapt, to hope, to fight beyond logical limitations. "We're not just defending ourselves," Sung told his team. "We're defending the possibility of peaceful existence in the universe." The final stages of the battle were brutal. Krell ships burned. Human vessels suffered significant damage. But something had changed. The narrative of inevitable conquest had been fundamentally challenged. Captain Yoon watched tears forming in her eyes. These humans, a species she had initially considered primitive, were rewriting the rules of galactic conflict. As the last Krell ships retreated, something profound happened. It wasn't just a military victory. It was a statement about the nature of intelligence, resilience, and hope. Humanity had just told the universe, "We will not be conquered." The confrontation ended, but something much larger was just beginning. The conference room was unlike any diplomatic space in galactic history. Representatives from multiple alien species sat alongside human delegates, a sight that would have been impossible just months earlier. Commander Sung Lee stood at the center, his posture calm but determined. Beside him, Captain Yoon Kim represented the first rescued alien civilization. They were no longer just survivors. They were partners. News of humanity's unexpected victory against the Krell had spread rapidly across numerous star systems. Species that had lived in fear for generations now looked at humans with a mixture of respect and hope. Dr. Yoon Choi presented the initial alliance proposal. It wasn't a traditional military treaty. It was something more complex, a mutual protection and technological exchange agreement that emphasized cooperation over dominance. "We're not offering protection," Yoon explained. "We're offering partnership." The alien representatives listened carefully. They had encountered many powerful civilizations before, but none had approached them with such genuine openness. The technological exchanges began immediately. Human scientists worked alongside alien researchers, breaking down communication barriers. Where other species saw differences, Humans saw opportunities for collaboration. Medical teams from Earth started developing universal treatment protocols that could help multiple alien physiologies. Communication experts created more advanced translation systems that captured not just words but cultural nuances. Captain Yoon shared stories about her civilization's history. The humans listened with genuine curiosity. They didn't judge. They sought to understand. Commander Sung outlined a radical concept, a galactic defense network where every participating species contributed equally. No single civilization would dominate. Each would have a voice, a role, a purpose. The first collaborative research stations were established. They weren't military bases. They were centers of learning, innovation, and mutual understanding. Human scientists worked alongside alien researchers, sharing knowledge without expecting immediate return. Military strategists from different species began joint training exercises. They discovered that human tactical approaches were fundamentally different. Humans didn't just plan. They imagined multiple scenarios, prepared flexible responses, and valued creative problem-solving. Dr. Rodriguez developed medical exchange programs. Healing techniques from different civilizations were studied, compared, and integrated. What one species considered impossible, another saw as a potential breakthrough. Weeks turned into months. The alliance grew stronger. More species joined, seeing an alternative to the brutal expansion of the Krell dominion. Technological innovations emerged rapidly. A communication system developed by humans and the first rescued alien civilization could transmit complex data across unprecedented distances. Energy production techniques were shared, potentially solving resource challenges for multiple planets. The Krell watched from a distance, confused by this unprecedented collaboration. They understood conquest. They didn't understand cooperation. Commander Sung understood something profound. This wasn't just about defending against a threat. This was about creating a new way of existing in the universe, a model of interaction based on mutual respect, curiosity, and shared potential. Captain Yoon realized that humans had something unique. They didn't see differences as barriers. They saw them as opportunities for growth. The first joint exploration missions were planned, not as military expeditions but as scientific and cultural exchanges. Species that had never spoken to each other before were now planning collaborative research missions. Universities on Earth began developing new academic disciplines: xenocultural studies, interspecies communication, collaborative technological development. These became exciting new fields of human education. The galactic landscape was changing, and it all started with a simple act of compassion, a rescue mission for a damaged alien ship. As the conference concluded, representatives from multiple species looked at each other differently. They weren't just allies. They were becoming something more. A new chapter in galactic history had begun, and humanity had written the first page.